Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy for Now. It's me, Isabel, here with your final Romancelandia of 2023. I think this is how I want to do them at the end of the year from now on, because this was really fun to put together. But this is not your typical Romancelandia. There will be some things in here that I did not cover because I felt like they fit better in this video. But also, we're just going to talk about the things that I found the funniest to have happened in the bookish space / Romancelandia space for the most part in 2023, because we had a wild year and it continues to be wild, to be honest with you. But I also just think like some of these things I've not forgot happened, but kind of forgot they were this year because they were in like January. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, and I think it's going to be a fun time. And hopefully it just makes you giggle, because we had so much just silliness this year that I think it's a fun time to revisit the silliness. And some of these, like I said, are things I didn't cover because I was like, these are going in the silly video. In January 2023, we had a first for me. That was an author coming back to life. Yes, Susan Meachin faked her death in like, I don't know, pre-2020, and came back to life in 2023 and told everyone that she'd faked her death. I still cannot believe this. So she faked her death and then made fake accounts on Facebook to continue running her Facebook reader groups and stuff, even though she'd faked her death. Authors had like donated money, did anthologies dedicated to like all these things because she had died. Lo and behold, she's like, hey, hi, hello, I'm back in January, and everyone lost their mind. That was like a first also. I don't know that I've had another author in Romancelandia do this. And I still am mind boggled. Also, like, some fraud involved because they fundraised for her death. Supposedly she was institutionalized. We don't know for sure. I hope whatever mental health help she needed, she has gotten or is getting. But like, y'all, that's a little extreme. I think you can just stop writing and just not. Like, it's okay. Everyone's allowed to just stop a thing if they don't enjoy doing it anymore and just be like, hey, I'm done. That's totally valid. Maybe do that next time, you know, instead of this weirdness. But yeah, that was January, and I still cannot believe that that was this year because of how much weirdness happened. Another highlight for me is the Kira Lewis thing. I did a very long breakdown video of that. The reason this still makes me laugh is that, one, she still has like over 1 million followers on TikTok, of course, because once you hit a certain size on these platforms, I think something people don't realize is that you don't lose people when this stuff happens. You continue to still gain people because the algorithm will keep pushing you. You've already proven to the algorithm that you get views and stuff, so it just, you know, happens. Not always, but generally speaking, I feel like that's a thing. And people have like very short memories now. But the Kira thing for me, I think in particular, that still cracks me up to this day is the fact that she was yelling these things as if they couldn't hear her and seemed surprised the players on the rink could hear her. And I'm just, y'all, what? How do you think they can't hear you? I don't understand. And then my next favorite part is that she like then proceeded to like pretend nothing happened and did like a $500+ book haul. And I was just like, girl, no. And after getting called out, like just acting like nothing happened. But the other fun part of this also for me was that there's suspicions that she doesn't read the books that she talks about, and a lot of what she covers in her like paid ads are all the very like clickbaity things you can see if you just search for this book on TikTok and see what other people are posting. So I find that fascinating. Also, the Kira thing, I think it was interesting to see her price card come out because that was wild to witness as well. But I also think sometimes like there's two different like scales here on being a like bookish content creator. There's people like her who can charge a lot, and then there's other people who like can't get anything, right? Like it's not that straightforward to get like sponsorships. So I just think it's really, really interesting that she has managed to get what she's gotten for this money. I mean, but I guess her videos do pretty well still. I just find it fascinating that, you know, her price card came out as well. But this for me was just like it was like awful and funny all at the same time, because people were just spinning out of control to justify things that I'm like, this is not okay. But also like this entire situation to me is bananas, because again, I think it all hinged on the idea that like they couldn't hear her and or people couldn't see your comments. And y'all, we see your comments. Like, anyone putting videos on the internet anywhere sees your comments, I promise you. Well, and maybe not all of them, okay, but like a majority of your comments are seen by other people, like by people who are posting. It's like, be nice. You don't have to be mean to people in the comments. If you want to be mean, like, take it to your group chat. Who cares? But I'm just saying, you also don't have to watch it if you don't like it. But oh my god, Kira, that felt like a storm that just like blew through, but hung around for a little too long. Okay, so I didn't include this in last month's Romancelandia because I kind of just missed it on my notes, but also I was glad I didn't, because I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I'm talking about for this video, and that is Ivy Smoke's Roughing the Princess fanfic that has since been scrubbed from the internet. Basically, I will link to some people who read it down below on TikTok. I know this, and I know Heather did a video too. This book is her Travis, Kelce, and Taylor Swift fanfic. Okay, she wrote it in like no time. Like, I think she turned that book out within like a week or two of their relationship coming out. And when I saw the book, I was like, what are you doing? This is weird. Like, real people fic is like too far for me, generally speaking. And I'm fine with inspired by, but like, this is more than inspired by. This is like, hey, this is what I imagine their relationship and sex life is like. And I'm like, that's a line too far. Now, like, you could be like, I have a pop princess with a football player book, and, you know, maybe the team doesn't wear red and we erase some of the similarities. That's fine. But this is like, yikes. My favorite thing about this that really like amused me was that Ivy kind of told people like, well, everybody wanted it. They were asking for this book. And yeah, but they weren't asking for this either. Exactly. Like, they were asking for books with similar vibes, I feel like, you know, with a football player and another type of celebrity, stuff like that. They weren't asking for fic of Travis and Taylor. They also, Ivy then, like, after, like, not long, like, this thing was not up for long. Within a couple days, that book was just yanked off the internet. It is gone. You probably have to go through some other means to get it now. And I just think it's really funny that she was like, oh no, this didn't go how I thought I would. I think she really thought she was about to, like, cash in on the desire for this kind of book. And had to then just go yank it off the internet because everyone was just like, this is terrible. Because apparently the book's also not even good. So, like, if you're going to do it, at least do it well. Again, I feel that way about another situation we'll talk about in a minute. Then we got to talk about Trilina Pucci. I've not read from her yet, but girl, we've had this issue a few times, okay? This has happened a few times with themes of Christmas in Christmas books. A couple years ago, it was Dana Isley and somebody else, like, arguing about the fact that, like, they invented light bulb handcuffs, like tying somebody up with light bulbs for Christmas in a Christmas book. And listen, y'all, you did not invent any of this, okay? Like, none of us have that original of thoughts, okay? Generally speaking, like, there's the whole thing, right? Parallel thinking and stuff. Well, Trilina got mad because another author was writing a book that was a throuple snowed in or something like that, and had like tinsel or tangled in something. Her book's like tangled in tinsel, and this book was like tangled in something. Christmas themed book. Trilina like went off on her stories and was like very upset about this, and was like, why does everyone have to copy me? I have my own ideas. Like, be original, do your own thing. And I'm like, it's a freaking Christmas book. Calm down. So, she's basically trying to say, like, she's why this trope is popular, or why this trope even exists. And it's like, no, you're not. You're not. Like, no, that's not how tropes work. And then she, like, now this month in December has been doing, like, all of these giveaways, including, like, a $500 cash giveaway, which I'm like, I don't know if she does this every year or not, but in my mind, after the blow up we just had, like, that whole thing that was mortifyingly embarrassing, but also hilarious to me that you're, like, trying to lay claim to a trope. We're doing a wild Christmas giveaway situation. We've had like $500 cash, Kindles, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, ma'am, are we trying to rehab our image here a little bit? Like, recover from the loss we had for being like a butt to another indie author? Because why? Why would you do that? But Trilina and I've never read her, and now I'm just like, I'm good. I'm not going to read your books if you're going to like be mean for no reason and try and lay claim to a trope. Another favorite, which is a semi-recent one, is Callie is reading on TikTok. So apparently, this is my favorite thing. So she came from a different style, like a regular influencer TikTok, where she got in trouble and basically kicked off that side of the internet for stealing crystals from a small business and never making the videos she told the creator she would make. So she did that. And then the creator outed her, and now she's moved over to book TikTok, and she is and was getting books off her wish list that she wanted to read, and then sitting with books she was gifted from people saying, these are books I'm never gonna read. Girl, what are you doing? Oh my god. So she does this, and then just like literally like 2 weeks ago, she's into shit again. And this is why I don't block some people, because I'm like, I need to know when you get in the shit again, because I was like, this is not the last we're seeing of her, especially once I found out about the crystal stuff. She was talking about this book that has a Nutcracker inspired theme, and the author came and defended themselves because she hadn't even read the book and was trying to like equate this book with like some really problematic things, but all the characters are above age. Like they're well above the legal limit. They're like 20, 21. And she's like going off, and then they're like, people realize she didn't even read the book and she's just trying to like discuss the things, which also circles back to Kira Lewis's situation, which people also suspect she doesn't read books. And now there's suspicion that our girl Callie is also not reading the things she talks about, which I just, you know, I'm not gonna say, like, I'm not gonna police anybody's reading, but I think it's weird to decide to come to the bookish internet and then, like, talk about things you haven't actually read. I don't understand. Like, nobody is out here, like, forcing you to talk about a book. You know what I mean? Like, you can grow a following by just talking about what you actually read. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And I just think it's so interesting. Like I said, it's all rumor. I don't know for sure. We know for this one with Callie, she did not read this book, but I thought this was just really interesting. And I don't know why the bookish internet attracts people like this, but I feel like at times we're just excited for somebody else to be a reader and we don't always realize. And how, I mean, if you aren't in that other space, you wouldn't know that she like scammed somebody. Okay, and then last but not least is the Red Tower Books is the Sheena Publishing and the Fourth Wing Catastrophe of the second book, Iron Flame. They opened up a return program, first of all. They opened up an exchange program because of how badly messed up so many editions of Iron Flame are, which I think is fascinating. I don't think I've seen that happen before for a big publisher. Because Red Tower is not a small publisher. This is not like some indie pub. This is not a, you know, a subscription box situation. This is like a publisher, like a publishing house publisher. And I think this is so fascinating. I was having a blast when Iron Flame came out, watching all of the different errors roll through my feed that people were getting, like books upside down, missing pages, missing chapters, doubles of the same chapter, like so many weird things. And I was just like, this is awful. And on top of that, like, these aren't cheap books. Like, none of these are cheap books. You know, you're spending like $30 on a book generally, like maybe 25, you know, but this is not cheap to buy like a hardcover book. And you're getting it with like, not just like issues internally, perhaps with the editing process and writing process, because it's so rushed, hence the Sheena Publishing, which I agree and disagree with. I do think sometimes traditional publishing wants to try and keep up more with the indie markets, and to do that they would have to rush books some more, but there's also less steps. There's less but different steps for an indie book to come out, if that makes sense. It's also easier for an indie to like, it's just different. So I don't think traditionally published books need to be rushed out every 6 months for a series or that, you know, especially if it needs more time to develop. But watching every single error of a Fourth Wing book that I got on my feeds, I felt so bad for people, but I was also just like laughing because I was like, they literally rushed this book. Like, there's no other explanation than that they rushed this book and couldn't go through, one, the same printer, because people had different papers, all kinds of different stuff, just different quality issues depending on where it was printed. And I was just like, y'all, like, this is why we should not rush things. And this is why I'm always fine with my authors who only put out one book a year. Like, that's fine. I can live with it. I can do one book a year for my faves. If it means I get a better quality book, I'm totally fine to wait. But I just feel like it is wild to me to watch a book this popular, like a series that is supposed to be this big and this popular, come out with this many misprints. I don't know. It's pretty bad, y'all. And then to have to open an exchange program, like that's not great. Okay, and then one more thing that just happened, and I'm not doing a video on, and I'm not really going to cover outside of this moment right here, is the Kate Coran situation. I feel like it has been covered enough. I didn't want to make a video on it, to be honest with you. But the Kate Coran situation was fascinating to watch unfold, because I'd pieced together who the author was from some help from friends. We pieced it together, and then when the receipts dropped, like 31 pages, and then the like faked Discord Slack discussion, I just kept thinking, like, you know, if you're gonna be bad, like if you're gonna be a villain and you want to do a thing like this, I would never do a thing like this, but like this is my like my planner brain, I guess. I'm like, do it well. Like I always feel this way about stuff. If you're gonna do something, do it well. And if you're gonna do something like that, like you gotta do it really well and not like uncover yourself, you know? Like how did Kate not think she was gonna get caught? Like she was so blatant about it. And then the fact, like the other part about this that like cracks me up even more is like not her non-apology, but the fact that the Raylos were like, this person does not exist. This is not a person in the Raylo community, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow. I, you know, mad respect for the Raylos. I don't read Raylo fic unless it's been traditionally published, but I have mad respect for them as a community, as a tight-knit group, as a group that is like, no, this person isn't real. Like, mad. I have so much respect. But that reveal for me, like, I was giggling so hard. I was like, oh my God, your former community. Because, like, she used to be a Raylo. And, like, Raylos rally for each other when their books are trad pubbed. Like, it's really sweet. I really love how tight-knit that community seems to be. And I understand why they are, right? But, like, they literally had to be like, no, she's not part of our group anymore, and there's reasons. And also, this person doesn't exist from what we can tell. And I was just like, oh, snap. But also, the faked conversations are so bad. Like, girl, like, again, if you're gonna be a villain, do it well. You're an author. You should be able to think these things through and do it well. Don't actually do these things, okay? Don't actually do that. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna be a villain, do it well. I know that seems like a weird statement, but I truly, like, nothing makes me more annoyed when I'm like, why did you do this to then get caught? Like, how did you, what? Also, just, like, who she was choosing to review and how, like, it obviously all stems down to a very, like, racist mindset. And then, even then on the issues of, like, how much publishing is valuing things like Goodreads when they don't need to be, because that's honestly not really how people pick up books for the most part. Like, it's a whole huge whole side discussion that I'm not gonna have, because like a bunch of my friends have had, like, go watch Ashley's video. We're at Bookish Realm. Jess has a video breaking down the Kate Coran stuff. Like, go watch their videos. But I just like, girl, what are you doing? So yeah, that was also kind of funny to watch unfold. So just that book looked really good and had great buzz, but you know, lo and behold, we're not reading it. That's for damn sure. But yeah, that is everything I thought was pretty amusing in 2023. Fingers crossed, knocking on wood, that we do not have anything too bonkers or wild happen in the last 12 days of the year, 11, whatever it is, 12 days, because this was on the 19th. I was like, I don't know, time is a mess. Anyways, let's hope nothing else too bonkers happens and that we can have a semi-calm January this year. But let me know in the comments your funniest things or your predictions for what you think will happen in 2024. And if you don't do either of those things, leave me a heart emoji of your choice. I will be back to talk to y'all in just a few days in my next video. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions. We'll get away. This is what we waited.